an unfortunate paradox regarding the situation with IDPs in Ukraine. This is an enormous problem. It's the 9th largest IDP population in the world. It was created by Kremlin aggression in Donbas. And Ukraine, and by say Ukraine, I mean the government, I mean the people, I mean civil society, has done a reasonable job dealing with the humanitarian consequences of Kremlin war in Donbas, and has provided a certain minimum of support for the IDPs. Now, there's still a great deal of suffering. More needs to be done, but it's been an admirable effort on the part of society and on the part of the government to deal with this. As a consequence, the 1.5 million IDPs are living in Ukraine. They have not gone into the EU countries. What this means is the EU countries, the people in the EU, the leaders, don't really understand the extent of this problem. And you contrast that with what's happened in the greater Middle East. Their war has led to a flood, millions of refugees into Europe. Therefore, leaders talk about this as a great crisis. They pay attention to this. People in these countries understand this is a serious issue. Because Ukraine has dealt with this reasonably well on its own, they are not getting the international support they need, either in terms of financial assistance to deal with the IDP problem. The international community realized Ukraine should receive over $200 million for this problem, and has provided only $24 million. So this is a problem. And also, because they don't see this, the Europeans, as a problem affecting them, they don't recognize the full seriousness of Kremlin aggression in Ukraine's east. So that encourages a weaker response to Moscow's aggression. So these are two practical consequences of the fact that Ukraine is dealing moderately well with this IDP problem.
Can I ask you, the point that you made about the absence of suffering of Ukrainians in Europe weakening the European response to Kremlin's aggression in Ukraine, what can be done I guess both from the Ukrainian side and from our international partners, what can be done to raise more awareness of the suffering of Ukrainian IDPs?
Well, we need to provide qualitative information on this. That's why the Atlantic Council did this report. We rolled this report out in London at Chatham House earlier this month. We're doing it in the United States, we're doing it here. And I think that the Ukrainian government needs to do more work in this area. And I think Ukraine's friends, especially in the United States, but also in Berlin and in Brussels, need to do more work on this problem.
The report also recommends including funding and support for Ukrainian IDPs alongside the U.S. strategy for anti-corruption.
For sure.
And all those matters.
For sure.
So far, is there any kind of strategy from the U.S. or the European Union at the moment that works or takes into consideration the IDP?
Certainly some officials in Washington who are responsible for our policy to Ukraine understand this. The same is true in Brussels with the EU. But certainly more support is required so that their voices will actually change policies. What Ukraine needs is not so much for the United States to provide bilateral aid for this. They need the United States to make the pitch within the international community for multilateral aid, of which the United States contributes its share. And certainly something that Ukraine can do, and for that matter, the friends of Ukraine like the Atlantic Council can do, is to talk about the importance of this, especially in Congress, where there is a great deal of sympathy for Ukraine and its fight against Kremlin aggression and the fight for reform in Ukraine.